All right, I hereby call this meeting to order. This is the special magistrate agenda for the town of Highland Beach. Cases are going to be heard in the order in which they appear on the agenda. When you hear your case called, go ahead and proceed to the podium on my right-hand side. The town will put on its testimony and evidence first. You'll have an opportunity to review any evidence the town presents and to ask questions of any of the witnesses that the town offers, after which time you can present your own evidence and testimony. And then I will make a decision. This is a quasi-judicial hearing, which means the formal rules of evidence do not apply here. However, all testimony is taken under oath under penalty of perjury. So if you're going to testify today, or you think you might testify, or there's a possibility that you might testify, I'm going to ask that you raise your right hand, and we will have you sworn in.
By the authority vested in me as a notary of the state of Florida, do you swear or affirm that the testimony that you are about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you.
All right, we do not have any minutes to approve, so we will call the first case. That is case number CC 24249, Gail Palestrini.
Okay, my name is Adam Osowski, Town of Highland Beach Code Compliance Officer, and I've been previously sworn in. This is case number CC 24-249. The property address is 4301 Tranquility Drive. I inspected the property on July 15th, 2024. The violation that remains as cited on today's agenda is IPMC 303.1 Dirty Pool. The notice of violation was served by posting and certified mail sent on July 16th, 2024. The respondent was given 14 days to come into compliance. The notice of hearing was served by posting and certified mail sent on September 18th, 2024. Prior to today's hearing, I re-inspected the property on October 7th, 2024, and the violations continue to exist. I have submitted the following evidence, which includes proof of service, supporting documents, and photographs. The town recommends the respondent be found in violation of the town code as alleged in the notice of violation and be fined $250 per day for each day the violation remains after the date set for compliance. The town is asking to assess prosecution costs in the amount of $250 payable by the date set for compliance.
Are you asking for 14 days to comply?
The town is deferring to the special magistrate for the compliance date.
And so the only thing outstanding at this time is the swimming pool is dirty?
Correct.
Have you had any conversations with the respondent, Gail Pastrini?
Not for this case, no.
But you've talked to her before?
I've seen her before. I've talked to her before this code case, but I've had no contact with her regarding this case.
And this was first noticed back in July?
Yes.
Have you seen any effort to bring this property into compliance?
No.
What do you think is a reasonable amount of time to bring this swimming pool into compliance?
14 days.
For the record, is there anyone here for the respondent, Gail Palestrini? And notice was accomplished through, you said, posting and certified mail?
Yes.
Was the certified mail signed?
No.
You posted the home and town hall?
Yes.
All right, in case number CC 24249, I make the following findings of fact and law. I find notice is sufficient. I find the property in violation of code section IPMC 303.1. Specifically, the swimming pool is not being properly maintained. The pool water is dirty and unmaintained. Respondent has 14 days to bring the property in compliance, or a fine in the amount of $250 per day may issue. I hereby assess costs the amount of $250.
Your Honor, can you give a date specific? That would be October 23rd.
I can.
Thank you.
All right, case B, number CC 24280.
My name is Adam Osowski and I've been previously sworn in. This is case number CC 24-280. The respondent is David Joseph Jr. The property address is 1100 Highland Beach Drive A. I inspected the property on August 1st, 2024. The violations that remain as cited on today's agenda are 30-122A, building permits required. More specifically, pavers, fence, electrical, dock and seawall, pool demo, plumbing work was all started without an issued permit. The notice of violation was served by posting and certified mail sent on August 2nd, 2024. The respondent was given 10 days to come into compliance. This property has been written up 6 times in the past for similar violations, 3 of which were work without permit cases. This is the first case to be heard at the special magistrate hearing. The permit was submitted on September 20th, 2024. It is currently pending under review. The permit still has unpaid fees and unresolved comments from the plan reviewer. The notice of hearing was served by certified mail sent on September 18th, 2024. Prior to today's hearing, I re-inspected the building records on October 7th, 2024, and the violations continue to exist. I've submitted the following evidence, which includes proof of service, supporting documents, and photographs. The town recommends that the respondent be found in violation of the town code as alleged in the notice of violation and be fined $250 per day for each day the violation remains after the date set for compliance. The town is asking to assess prosecution costs in the amount of $250 payable by the date set for compliance.
So the respondent began construction on their property and did not obtain a building permit.
Correct.
Pavers, fence, electrical, dock, and pool demo and plumbing. Those are all things that you observed being done without a permit.
Yes,
And they subsequently applied for a permit, but they have not completed the process to get the permit issued.
correct.
And what is the reason the permit has not been issued? They didn't respond to the comments?
There's still unpaid fees and unresolved comments.
Based upon your experience on these matters, how long should it take for them to resolve these things so that they can get their permit?
As long as everything's done correctly, and there's nothing further from the plan reviewer, at most 14 days.
You have anything further?
No, I don't.
All right, in case CC 24280, make the following findings of fact and law. I find notice is sufficient. I find the property. Oh, are you here for this case? Oh, I'm so sorry, sir. Come on up. So tell me what's going on with your property,
Okay,
sir.
so they are correct of what they're stating. Okay, I'm not gonna do that. I have a beautiful backyard, but my pool was sinking, so we had a repair done by Dale Hammond Pools. When he came in to do the repair, because our jacuzzi was sinking in, and that's from 2 different things. Number one, it's the boats go fast, number one. Number 2, my neighbor put a seawall in and all the banging. All my pavers, which I got a permit 2 years ago. I had pavers and I got new pavers in there, which I found out we needed a permit to replace the pavers that we had. So when we have violations, this was already done and we were replacing it. So when we talk about this case, it's the same pavers. We pulled them all up. We had to have a foam company come in and every 2 feet put behind the seawall. They had to put foam in because we have a disaster in the backyard of everything sinking. We have sinkholes that are going on, and it's not the seawall. It's the back of the seawall, and it's actually all the pounding. And it started 3 years ago when the neighbor, which is attached, put in a seawall in there. So we hired Hammond to come in this time now and fix the pool. The jacuzzi was actually sinking in there. In doing so, he got very carried away, and I'm not going to blame it on him because we should have stopped him for what he did. And he tore it all up. So when they went to put in the foam too, they had to take up the boards from the deck that's out on the seawall out there to see it. So that was taken up. Those boards were all rotten. Again, we should have came up for a permit to do that. So I'm saying we are not in compliance. It was our fault. I'm the homeowner. I take responsibility. I'm not going to blame anybody for that.
So my understanding is that you have applied for the permit, but the permit has not yet been issued.
2 permits.
Can you tell me why the permits haven't been issued yet, sir?
To be honest, I think my pool person, the contractor, has been dragging his feet. Well, we had to get, all right, let's take this back because it's not a repair anymore. We had to get an engineer in there and we had to get an architect and I had to get a new survey. My survey, which I brought, and I don't need, if you want to see it, fine, shows the old
No, I believe you.
survey. So we had to get a new survey of the way it looks after he tore it apart like that. And so they had to take the fence down to do it. So I asked him to apply for everything that needs to be done and redo the whole pool. So that's what he was doing. But in the interim, it took us almost 5 weeks to get the engineers out there, the architect to do the pool. So, and what my understanding was, and I could be wrong about this, as soon as it happened, Hammond did come up and talk to somebody up here and said, hey, I'm the contractor. I shouldn't have went as far as I did. But again, I'm not putting that on him on there. So we're waiting for 2 permits.
When do you anticipate getting your permits?
I have to find out what, if there's costs, I didn't know about that because I didn't apply for it. 2 years ago, when I applied to replace a fence and put down the new pavers, I was in control of it. I'm not. So if there's outstanding fees, I'll walk over and pay them right now.
The town suggested to me that 14 days would be sufficient. Is that a sufficient amount of time, do you think, sir?
If Hammond can get it done, I hope he can. Yes. I mean, I'll push it as much as I can, what I can do. I know the architect's in, I know all the engineerings are in. We had to wait. They just asked for the pilings. Now we need pilings. And that was another thing. And I'm going to maybe bring this up. 3 years ago, I redid that whole pool with a permit. Okay. That pool should have never been sinking. Well, there was no pin pilings put in. I'm not an engineer. But that was all approved from our city too. And I'm not saying them, I'm just saying, I'm like pulling my hair out here on this. So now we have to have pin pilings. So they just got the calculations. I believe they just submitted them last Friday. So I think we can.
All right, well,
He tells
I
me
guess
it's like any day.
I'll be the contrarian here. 14 days isn't a lot of time, especially with a hurricane coming. You're going to need a little bit more time. But even if I give you a little more time, it's still going to require some exigency on your part to get this done.
It's going to have to be because I've been after him every day on this. I mean, but things did take time really to get the engineers out. It was a nightmare to really get anybody to do it, even though he said he worked with this person all the time. So again,
Yeah, let me with
there
the
are circumstances, but
yeah, I mean, in fairness, there's always circumstances,
it
right?
got to be a disaster. So
Yeah.
my question is, and this is just a question that I have too. So my pavers are down. Okay. If you take those pavers up to put back down again, because there's sinkholes, you need a permit to put that. I'm just asking the question. Put the same pavers back down again that I did 2 years ago that got a permit, because that's what's on the list on there.
Yeah,
I get confused on
I think
that.
you were probably in permit land once you took them up,
Right.
but yeah,
And they took them all up
yeah,
too.
but-
It wasn't like they took pieces up because
Yeah.
that all had to come up.
But I'm not gonna speak for the city here. Let me have the code officer come back just for a sec.
Pardon?
Would the town be opposed to granting them a little more time than the 14 days that the town asked for?
No, we're not opposed to that.
All right, I'm gonna give you, sir, I'm gonna give you the 30 days because I think you're gonna need it. But even 30 days isn't a ton of time to get this done, so you're really gonna have to push your contractor to really start moving, okay? All right. In case CC 24280, I'm gonna make the following findings of fact and law. I find notice is sufficient. I find the property in violation of code section 30 to 122A, which is building permits required for the construction started without a permit, including the pavers, the fence, the electrical, and the dock seawall, pool demolition, and plumbing. Respondent has 30 days to bring the property into compliance, or a fine of up to $250 per day. May issue, I don't know, what, did you calculate the map for me here? What does 30 days bring us?
Well, today's October 8th, so that could be November 8th, which is a Friday, or the 11th.
All right, November 8th, 2024. Or a fine of up to $250 per day. May issue, I assess cost the amount of $250. Good luck, sir. I would definitely stay in touch with the code officer and let them know your progress, okay? All right, case C is CC 24312.
My name is Adam Osowski and I have been previously sworn in. The respondent is Betty Wolf. The property address is 4740 South Ocean Boulevard, Unit 1010. I inspected the property on August 21st, 2024. The violation that remain as cited on today's agenda is 30-122B, expired water heater permit. The notice of violation was served by certified mail sent on August 21st, 2024. The respondent was given 15 days to come into compliance. The permit was originally submitted on March 21st, 2023, but it expired due to unpaid fees and the missing final inspection. The notice of hearing was served by posting and certified mail sent on September 23rd, 2024. Prior to today's hearing, I re-inspected the building records on October 1st, 2024. Or excuse me, the building records were October 1st, 2024, and the violations continue to exist. I have submitted the following evidence, which includes proof of service, supporting documents, and photographs. The town recommends that the respondent be found in violation of the town code as alleged in the notice of violation and be fined $250 per day for each day the violation remains after the date set for compliance. The town is asking to assess prosecution costs in the amount of $250 payable by the date set for compliance.
So the only thing they didn't do here was have a final inspection?
And they also have unpaid fees, correct?
So they went in, they applied for the permit. They had an initial inspection.
Not for the water heater. A water heater is usually just the final inspection.
Is it possible they just never had the thing installed?
I go out and check before I issue the expired permit, so this job was completed. But again, since then, I've had no contact with the respondent and I have had no contact with the contractor.
I presume it was the contractor that applied for the permit,
Yes,
but the Betty Wolf never contacted the town or talked to you at all?
I've had no contact with Miss Wolf at all.
And when did you first notice this?
August 21st, 2024.
And service was posting and certified mail?
Certified mail for the notice of violation and posting and certified mail for the notice of hearing.
Did they sign for it?
For the notice of violation, yes. The notice of hearing, I have to double check.
Yeah, it looks like it.
All right.
And they didn't reach out, huh?
No,
So how much time should it take them to bring this into compliance? Presumably they have to come in here, pay their fees, and then schedule an inspection.
again, something this simple is 14 days.
When does that get us? 14 days? All right, in case number, well, I suppose I should ask. I don't see anyone though. Is anyone here on behalf of the respondent? All right. In case number CC, for the record, let me observe that there is nobody present. Case number CC 24312, I make the following findings of fact and law. I find notice is sufficient to find the property in code section violation of code section 30-122B, which is the expiration of a building permit for a water heater that was installed without the proper permit being issued. Respondent has 14 days to bring this into compliance, or by October 23rd, 2024, or a fine of up to $250 per day may issue. I assess cost amount of $250. All right. The next case is CC 2023-05-035.
I am Adam Osowski, Town of Highland Beach Code Compliance, and I have been previously sworn in. The respondent is Jordan R. Cohen. The property address is 1119 Highland Beach Drive 2. This case was originally heard at the Code Board hearing on July 11th, 2023. The board ruled the respondent had 14 days to come into compliance, or a fine of $250 would be imposed. The board also charged the respondent a $250 cost of prosecution, which was paid on September 5th, 2024. On September 5th, 2024, the respondent notified the town requesting this case be heard so the owner can request a fine reduction. This was only after the respondent was notified of the town's intentions to start the foreclosure process on the lien. The property was in violation for 42 days after the date set for compliance. As of today, the total fine is $10,500. The respondent has 3 fine reductions being heard today. Each separate property has a separate partial control number.
These all have the same address, but they're different properties.
Correct. It's a group of 2 villas, and he has 3 separate ones that he owns.
Is there anyone here on behalf of the respondent? Come on up.
Hi, I'm Jordan Cohen.
Go ahead, sir.
So Adam's 100% correct. I have 3 properties in Highland Beach, and they were short-term rentals. I started an application for the short-term rental at the end of 2021, and long story short, a lot of personal issues. Father passed away in October of 21.
I'm sorry. To
I appreciate it. For many years, like, been battling depression, anxiety, and totally ignored work, every piece of mail that came in, every email. And this was like one of the top of the list of things I got ignored. I reached out to them like a month ago to try to get everything corrected, and that's why I'm here today. Eventually, when I realized I could not do the application myself, I hired a company to just do it for me, but it was definitely late, and that's what stopped the clock. But if it makes it any better, I believe once he came out and did the inspections, there wasn't anything significant that was found, and everything was fine. But it was a very late application.
So you're asking for a reduction of the fine of $10,500?
Yeah.
What specifically are you asking me for, sir?
I don't have a number in mind. I mean, as much leniency as, you would envision.
You got to ask me for something. I can't read your mind.
$1. But whatever you think is fair, it will be appreciated. Because I have 3 cases.
So your offer is $1, huh?
Whatever you think is fair. I definitely have already paid, I know, a significant amount in applications and re-applications and court calls and all that stuff. So whatever you think is fair for I guess not having the paperwork in.
Let me have the city come back up.
Okay.
I'm sorry, the town. So respondent or petitioner has offered $1. I'm going to presume that that is not the town's position.
Correct.
What is the town's position on this request for reduction of fine?
May I have a moment to talk to my supervisor?
Absolutely.
Okay,
Sorry, go ahead.
we come back with 1,050.
Mr. Cohen? Town has offered to reduce it to 1,050. If you want my opinion, I think that's a pretty good offer
Alright.
from the town. I would take.
I'm okay with that. Thank you.
How much time do you need to pay?
I can pay that.
All right, we'll give you 30 days. All right, in case CC 2023-05-035, I hereby reduce the fine from $10,500 to $1,050 payable within 30 days. If it's not paid within that time, it returns to the original amount.
November 8th.
Sorry. November 8th. Is it the same fine amount on the other two?
No.
No, it's different. Okay. All right, case CC 2022-10-020.
I am Adam Osowski and I have been previously sworn in. The respondent is Jordan Cohen. The property address is 1119 Highland Beach Drive, Unit 3. The case was originally heard at the Code Board hearing on December 13th, 2022. The board ruled the respondent had 15 days to come into compliance or a fine of $250 a day would be imposed. The board also charged the respondent a $250 cost of prosecution, which was paid on January 4th, 2023. On September 5th, 2024, the respondent notified the town requesting this case be heard so the owner can request a fine reduction. This again was after the respondent was notified of the town's intentions to start the foreclosure process. The property was in violation for 255 days after the date set for compliance. As of today, the total fine is $63,750.
This one ran a longer amount of time, huh?
Yes.
Mr. Cohen? This is a pretty big fine, huh?
Yeah. To be fair, I guess all of them technically should have been the same date. I don't know why the clock started at different times, but yeah, my testimony.
Typically, they start based upon the order of enforcement. So sometimes, depending on when the town initially cited and heard the cases, you can have some variation on dates, which in some ways is actually helpful to you because some of them clearly did not run as
Yeah.
long as they could have.
Yeah.
But I don't think there's any issue that this fine is valid. I guess the question is, it's $63,750. What are you asking me to do here?
I'd like to reduce it to 1,050.
What's the town think?
The town recommends a reduction to 10%, which is $6,375.
Mr. Cohen?
Any leniency would be appreciated. I'll pay whatever is required.
That's pretty good leniency. I
Yeah.
mean, you walked in
I
here
know.
with 63,000.
I know.
That's not too bad.
I guess at the end of the day, I would just hope that it was a paper application to allow a short-term rental. no one was hurt. I know it was extraordinarily late and there's rules for a reason, but hopefully any leniency can be had just because it wasn't like a major construction project, like,
They did cut it by
I
90%.
no, I know. So whatever you think's fair.
I'll reduce it to $6,375 payable 30 days.
Thank you.
But not least, where did I put my other paper? What's the last code one? Because I lost the F. Thanks. All right, case CC 202210-014.
My name is Adam Osowski and I have been previously sworn in. The respondent is Jordan R. Cohen. The property address is 1123 Highland Beach Drive, number 3. The case was originally heard at the Code Board hearing on December 13th, 2022. The board ruled the respondent had 14 days to come into compliance or a fine of $250 per day would be imposed. The board also charged the respondent a $250 cost of prosecution, which was paid on January 4th, 2023. On September 5th, 2024, the respondent notified the town requesting this case be heard, so the owner can request a fine reduction. The property was in violation for 255 days after the date set for compliance. As of today, the total fine is $63,750.
Mr. Cohen?
Same as previous testimony, so. I guess I would request a reduction to, if it's the same as the last one, the same, 10%.
Is the city okay with the 10%?
Yeah.
All right. KCC 2022-10-014. I hereby reduce the fine from $63,750 to $6,375 payable within 30 days, which is November 8th, 2024, or returns to the original amount. All right. I think that's it, right? All right. Seeing no further business before us, we are hereby adjourned.